The Husk. A strange name for a ship, I thought, but fitting when my father told me the reason behind it. The Husk was an enchanted vessel as pale as bone that required no crew to man, only a captain to bark orders. Should the captain shout out, "Drop the sails," the fabric would obey. An order to raise the anchor would send its winch twirling around on its own to tug the chain. I couldn't believe such a ship existed. I've never had an open mind for magic. Parlor tricks couldn't amuse me. I could always find some way to debunk those fancy light shows folks called the real thing. But a ship that obeyed its captain on its own? The crusty doubloon rolled across my knuckles. It was the last thing my father had given me, saying it would help me find the Husk. He claimed it was my heritage. I ran my free hand over my beard as I inspected the doubloon again. Several holes were carved through it, and numbers and letters adorned the top and bottom edges. Coordinates. I initially thought I should lay the coin at those coordinates on my map and see if any islands lined up with the voids in the metal. No such luck. Only one choice remained: to venture to those coordinates and see what there was to see. I really didn't want to waste my time or my crew's patience by going there. My map showed nothing in that spot but open sea for miles. I swore to eat my bandana if there was some uncharted phantom island there. "Jethro!" I called out to my right-hand man, who promptly stomped to my door and flung it open. His glasses slid down his beak-like nose. "The time has come. Set our course." Jethro lowered his brow and fixed his spectacles. He knew what I spoke of. I had discussed the Husk with him before, and he wasn't too fond of the idea. "Aye, Captain," he grunted and shut the door as he left. The air in my cabin turned cold. Was I really going to chase a phantom ship that probably didn't even exist? I had nothing better to do. Weeks passed as we approached the coordinates. Nothing but open water as far as the horizon. I looked to the stars once night fell. We saw nothing as we journeyed closer to our destination. As expected, the sea was empty. Our trip seemed like a big waste of time. I shuffled around in my cabin, fingers twitching over my crossed arms. My patience wore thin, and my crew likely felt no different. Jethro knocked as he stepped into my cabin. "Anything to report?" I asked over my shoulder. "No signs of anything, Captain." "Are you sure it's the best idea to be hunting after this thing?" Those thoughts had been roiling through my mind as well. What else did we have? We'd not been able to restock our cannon shot or powder after our last fight, so raiding another ship was out of the question. We didn't have enough gold hidden away to retire, and we heard no rumors of another pirate's horde. We literally had nothing to do other than hunt a ship that likely didn't exist. "Land ho!" My head shot up as if a flintlock had propelled it. I grabbed a spyglass and rushed out onto the deck with Jethro close behind. "What bearing?" I called to our man in the crow's nest. "East, northeast, Captain." I raised my spyglass and scanned the horizon. To my shock, there it was, a sizable island of black rock with a jagged mountain range soaring over the waves. Something caught my eye in the formations, a familiar shape. I retrieved the doubloon from my pocket and held it up to the island. The holes bored into the metal coin matched up perfectly with two of the peaks. The third hole pointed to a spot near the waterline, perhaps a bay or inlet that would afford us anchorage. I lowered the doubloon and peered at that space with my spyglass. A tall, pale mast emerged from behind the rocks. "Jethro, tell the cook to prepare my bandana in a stew." We neared the island right as the sun started to peek over the sea. The black rocks jutted straight up from the water like the teeth of some ancient sea monster. And waiting in the maw of this beast of an island was the prize I had doubted was real. A pale white ship rocked in the waves. The Husk. After dropping the anchor, I climbed down to the dinghy. Jethro fiddled with his glasses. "Do you want me to row, Captain?" I shook my head and untied the dinghy to shove off. "No, and if I don't return, the ship is yours." The sun rose behind me as I scudded toward the Husk. The pale light of dawn gleamed on its hull. As I neared the pale ship, an eerie sense of emptiness washed over my soul. It only intensified when I dared to lay a hand on its side. The texture of the lumber felt strange. Instead of the usual wood grain, the surface was smooth, clutched a rope ladder hanging from the railing and climbed up onto the deck. The sounds of my boots echoed in the hollow space below, which sounded much larger than it should have. I made my way to the helm. The pale white woodwork almost glowed in the light of the rising sun. The wheel's design took the shape of a bony spine coiled into a circle, with handles jutting out from the vertebra in the usual places. About to grab the wheel, another strange detail caught my eye, and I hesitated. The mast soared overhead, a pillar of bundle femurs stacked end to end. My gaze scanned them top to bottom, only to find the deck was not boards as I had imagined, but some unknown material with carved shapes resembling bones. I reeled and took a step back. This haunting vision sent sweat dancing down my brow. I bumped into the railing behind me. I whipped around and saw it was made of more bones fused together at the ends. One shaky hand reached out to touch the railing, just to assure myself it was well-carved woodwork. It couldn't possibly be actual bone, but the texture was too convincing. While raiding old hoards guarded by the remains of the unlucky, I had held human remains in my hands. The same smooth, dry, and porous surface met my fingertips as I grasped the woodwork of the ship. There was no denying it. The Husk was a ship of human bone. Obedient to its captain or not, I did not wish to command such a horrid ship. I quickly returned to the dingy and grasped the oars to row back to my own vessel. The crew gathered around, eyes narrow and mouths agape at my hasty return. Jethro ran over to aid me onto the deck. "What happened out there, Captain? You look as pale as that ship." "It's cursed!" I yelled out for my entire crew to hear. "That damn boat is built of human bones. We're leaving it here to rot." The news of a curse was enough to get the men moving. Everyone rushed to their posts and immediately got to work, turning the ship around to leave. I took one last glance at the Husk before returning to my cabin. The eerie sensation of eyes watching me from its empty deck lay heavy upon me, but slowly faded as we departed. As my cabin door swung shut behind me, an unnatural chill coursed over me. Across the room from the single window, my desk usually sat in shadows. A dim yellow glow emanated from a human skull resting on the wood. "You've a good spirit, Captain." The skull spoke, its mouth unmoving. I drew my pistol and pointed it at the skeletal intruder. "Demon, what are you and what do you want from me?" "Calm yourself. I mean no ill will. I am the spirit of the Husk." The yellow glow flickered. "Others have managed to find the ship before, but none had discovered the curse and turned away." I lowered the gun, but still clutched it at the ready. "So, it truly is cursed?" "Captaining it comes with a heavy price," the skull answered. "When a captain who mans the Husk dies, he becomes one with it. His experience adds to my own, his body to the hull." The golden light brightened and the skull lifted into the air to move toward me. I raised my pistol when the skull reached an arm's length from my face. "If you are here to curse me, forget it. I'm leaving that damned ship to waste away in that forsaken place." "I am not. In fact, I'm here to give you a proposition. This is a unique case, you see." It hovered sideways, circling me. All the other captains stayed on the ship and slowly became one with it over time. But you are the first to find it and leave it. Cut the details. What is your offer? The skull stopped moving. "I'm offering you the command of the Husk. As long as you never set foot on it again, you will not become one with the ship." "What's the catch?" "Nothing outrageous. All I need is your command to sail once more. Your experiences and memories." I raised my pistol again. "I am not a man who would sell his soul to the devil." "You misunderstand," the skull continued. "I want your memories, not your soul. You will still carry on to the next life unhindered." I lowered my gun again. "So, what of the price?" "Without setting foot on the Husk, you are safe from becoming part of the ship when you die." "And how would I command the ship without being on it?" The skull chuckled. "I am the spirit of the Husk, remember? Any command you wish to give the ship, you speak to me." This offer seemed a little too generous. While a greedy pirate captain, I was not raised to be a fool. "There must be more to it than that. Some other catch you aren't telling me." Spill it. The skull tilted to one side. You are suspicious. I can't blame you, but I assure you, that is all I want. I have no need for anything else, and the experience of living captains is the only thing I desire. To sail the seas again, to hear the roar of cannons, and feel the thrill of adventure. I care not for gold, souls, or your bones. The room fell into silence. My eyes remained locked on the skull and my mind on its offer. Full command of the husk and immunity to the curse. It was all too good to be true. I didn't believe a word this demon said. I decline your offer. It is much too suspicious to dare. The skull sank in the air. I understand, but I assure you, I speak only the truth. It hovered away back to my desk and set itself down on the corner. In case you change your mind, I'll stay close. The golden light faded away, leaving just an empty skull behind. My brow tightened at the thought of this thing sitting in my own cabin, on my own ship. A direct connection with a cursed ship that needed no crew and would obey my every command. My mind went off in every direction at once, conflicted about what to do. For now, I would leave the husk alone until I had no other choice.